One, two, three, four! Greetings, this is Tom with Buncombe Shinola. Welcome to our series, Humming a Sickening Tune, where we shall be reviewing every single Ramones song in order alphabetically. Today on Humming a Sickening Tune, we shall discuss All's Quiet on the Eastern Front from Pleasant Dreams. A titular reference to European literature is not the first thing that jumps to mind when one brings up a Ramones track from the 80s, but Eric Maria Remarque's All's Quiet on the Western Front's evocation of World War I trench warfare, danger, and desperation translated well into Dee Dee's portrayal of New York City haunts and hunts throughout the Big Apple's subterranean jungles, if you will. One mustn't forget the young Douglas Colvin was raised as an Air Force brat in Germany, and the resonant source material elevated his street poetry, metaphorically capturing the primal alleyway prowls of the addict and the maneuvers of his motivations. Such as embodied in the enigmatic and oft-repeated catchphrase Dee Dee himself specifically intones, "Can't you see my movements talk?" This was the third album in a row in which the band attempted to expand the palette of their sound into what they clearly hoped would be a more commercially successful realm. But the often dubious conceptual choices of Graham Goldman, who may have composed several classic pop hits in the 60s but was currently a member of the pretentious art rock band 10cc, pushed the band even further away from their comfortable sonic turf than even Phil Spector had previously dared. All's Quiet is something of an exception, however, with only some uncharacteristically quasi-tribal, even world-beatish percussion propelling the song. And a surprising but satisfying key change coda, a detail which is not present on either the early demo of the song or any of the subsequent live versions, marking the taint of likely outsider input. There's also a fascinating extra couple of instrumental measures which precipitate the first verse. Quite odd that this occurs only one time, but indeed this detail did appear in the group's early versions of the track, and debatably might have perhaps been more effective if it had remained on the primary rhythm instead of prematurely jumping to the secondary verse beat. A fleeting unique detour for certain. Yet, overall, this stands definitively as the most satisfyingly primitive track the troublingly over-arranged Pleasant Dreams offers. All's Quiet on the Eastern Front is cluttered by merely a minimal amount of production spice interference, and it remains one of the LP's only tracks whose ambitions do not outstrip the abilities or usurp the parameters of the band's aesthetic. What do I like least about this track? Well, this is certainly not a complaint you're going to hear very often on this channel, but Joey's vocal on this track really must be called a disappointment. His performance is undermined by a surprising air of relative indifference, with several questioningly passive flourishes and phrasing diluting the results of what certainly had the potential to be a tour de force, what with the rich wordplay presented by the track's tableau. And what do I like most about this track? Well, speaking of the lyrics' literary bent, I truly savor the verse, which alludes in a somewhat Clockwork Orangey style slang speak to, quote, smoky air, shaky locks, and kicky doors, unquote. This is Tom with Buncombe Shinola. Thanks for listening and watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think of All's Quiet on the Eastern Front. I'll be talking to you again soon. Up next, we'll be discussing the title track from Animal Boy.